Okay, first things first, saddle off. Next thing, I think it's 210s for those. I've got some lines to undo as well. Oh, relief. Not too tight. Says to put it on or reserve rather than prime, I guess. So it shouldn't leak. That wasn't too tight. That seemed to do it, just a little bit of a wiggle with some needle nose. Hopefully I didn't rip it. Tried to be gentle, just to soak up any residual gasoline that pops out of there when this comes out. Drain hose right bottom of fuel tank. I see a drain hose here. This could be the one. I'm assuming that's another hose there. There's two of them. Okay, so what I've done is shimmed the tank up with a block of wood or some blocks of wood. Looked underneath there and noticed that those rubbers are held on with clips that are really hard to get to. So I'm just going to pull the whole rubber hoses out and rethread them the way I want them anyway. I think they're a little bit off. With that said, let's be brave and just pull these buggers out. Here they are. There we go. Now that's the rebreathing apparatus right here. I need to clear all of this gubbins, this clobber. This is the emission system right here, goes through, and it also cuts into the carburetors as well. So there'll be a blanking, I'll get a new two-way valve here, and I'll get two blanks here that will close this off. This will disappear. But meanwhile, to get this off, I'm going to need to get the plugs out. I'm going to need to get the exhaust gas recirculation pair valve crap out of the way, and I'm going to have to get this off as well. So see you in a minute. Oh, the beautiful bevel drive. I wonder if they lost the nylon washers or if they have them. There were nylon washers underneath these on the old one, and they were very fiddly. They're quite stiff still, so again, I don't think these have been out very often. Remnants of Loctite. Remnants of any nylon washers here. Oh, I remember that guy. He needs to come out too. I'm guessing because the guy kept this on, the previous owners have kept this on, they really didn't know much about bikes. This is 2 bolts for this. I do have to remove the plugs. Okay. Same on the other side. Remove the bolts and remove the spark plug holder covers. All right, so we've loosened the spark plug top so we can get the top off. I'll take the rocker valve cover off. These don't seem to have washers on them, which is nice. There we go. I think if I can bring this down to here. There, off she comes. Looks good inside. Someone did put some gasket sealant on there, but doesn't look like they did much. And they used red. So I have a new gasket. We are inside the gubbins. What I have to do now is get one side to top dead center and the other side to top dead center. And you're going to say to me, well, they both go up and down. Surely they'll both be top dead center. But while the piston's top dead center, and it's a 360 degree crank, and they both lift and fall at the same time. I'm talking the pistons here. The valves don't, because they fire on every other. So 1, 2, 3, this one fires. Okay, that's nice. There we go. I should see a mark here that lines up with a notch that you can see right there. When I turn this, plugs are out, it's in neutral. White timing mark in line with notch. One of these cylinders, there's a little T there, one of these cylinders is top dead center. Okay, I've done the other side. I have spun the flywheel to get this side, this cylinder top dead center, and I've done that. And now what I'm going to do is check the spacing. So I checked the spacings on the other side. Everything was too tight, but one cylinder that was valve that was too great. So I've adjusted all of them. There's new shims in all of them actually to get them within spec. Spec for inlets are 0.08 mils to 0.13, and for exhaust it's a bigger, wider range, and they were tight. The exhausts were tight, which is typical. They're hot, and valves tighten up with the shim and bucket thing as the valve itself goes into the head even more. They tend to pound into the head when the engine's cold, so you've got to be careful doing that sort of stuff. And therefore the gaps get small between the shim and bucket and the cam, because the valve is sticking up higher, and so you want to make that a little bit bigger, and so that's what I've done. Now to this side, let's see what we've got. So we know that I've got the inboard and the outboard inlet, and I've got the inboard right there and the outboard exhaust. All right, just to show you how out of spec some of these valves are, remember these are the exhausts right here, and if we remind ourselves, the exhausts had to be between 1400ths and 1900ths. Right here I have a 13, and I can just about get a 13 in there. And here I cannot get a 13 in, so I go to a 10. And I cannot get the 10 in. I cannot get the 10 in there. This is really tight. It's well short of where it should be. The 13 goes in this one. I don't think I'll get a 15 in there. Let's try it. 15, 15, 15. Can I get a 15 in there? No, I cannot get a 15 in there. So it's closer to a 13 than it is a 15. So it's about, 13 and a half or 1/35 of a millimeter. It's certainly not the 1/4 which we need. We're right on the minimum with this one, below the minimum, and we're well below the minimum with that one. So we need to reduce these shim sizes so these gaps get bigger. I'll let you know how it goes. I'll grab a shim. I'll show you how I do it. Literally pull this towards me, and then I grab a magnet, make sure the whole shim is visible. I grab a magnet and there it is. There's the shim. I got the shim out. So now, of course, I'm going to measure that shim. Put my magnet down there and I measure it with a micrometer. 2.91 millimeters, we'd have to say that is. So this one is 2.91 millimeters, and I'll put that right there. And then I'll nick out the next one by pushing this the other way. And you do really have to give them a push. If they partially cover, this won't come out. There it is. And we'll measure that one. And then we can adjust them as we need to. We need to reduce these because we need the gap to be bigger, remember? They're quite small. So whatever this measures, we will be putting a smaller shim in. 2.93, have to be fair, say it's 2.93. So there we go. That's going to be 2.93. So we are at 0.09. We need to go up to the minimum. The range is 14. We can go up 10 if we want. I'd rather go bigger because they're going to get smaller. So basically, my inboard is 2.93. I could go to a 2.83, and that makes a bigger gap. 2.83-ish would be good. And I know I've got one of those because I pulled one out of those at the other side. So, okay, I'll button it all up in a minute. I'll have them all back in, and we'll talk about what we found. But what I can say is, I don't think this has ever had a valve adjustment. If it has, it may have had it after the first service of whatever that is. Running 2,500, 5,000, something like that. Well, it's 29,000 now, and they were out of spec. All of the valves were out of spec. Not big, but just borderline there. And I could tell there's a lot of backfiring. And when you get tight valves, exhaust valves, you do get that popping and banging going on, which is happening on my Goodsey too. That could be because I put a different exhaust on though. So, with that said, I'll get on and I'll tell you what we've done as far as sorting the valves out when I finished. Okay, as you can see, she's buttoned up. The valves went in pretty well. 6 of the 8 valves were out of spec, and 2 of them big time, way too tight on the exhaust valves. I also put new plugs in. Had a devil of a time getting the top gasket on. You can see he put some red gunk here. This is why it was leaking. This was rock hard, and it's the high torque stuff. It's not really meant for light use gaskets, and with the vibration, I'm sure that it started to weep out. Apparently they replaced these gaskets and made them better anyway after this. This is probably the original gasket in it. Putting this in I shouldn't say cylinder head, valve cover, is they say put it in like this, put the silicone over here, and then flip the valve cover over on top of the block, and no, doesn't work. Of course this falls out. So I had to spend a tedious hour yesterday painting this 1194, it's called, liquid gasket. It's a non-drying gasket. Just painting a little bit and using it like an adhesive, popping it on, and then I was able to put the gasket on, tuck it in, cinch it down. Yeah, so all gaskets going in the garbage because it could never use it again anyway. It was apparently the first few years were faulty and they did all leak down there eventually. So yeah, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up with a manometer because I've replaced the plugs, I've done the valves. As I said, before I take this thing apart, I want it running like a sewing machine. Just imagine I'm listening to Steely Dan and bopping away, because that's what I'm doing when the camera's off. Of course, can't do it when the camera's on because YouTube will blank me out. I'm going to name the bike, and yeah, some of you might know where the name for that band came from, and if you do, you'll make the connection. Meanwhile, back to the valve cover, which was in terrible, terrible state. It's coming up nicely. I might end up getting it Cerakoted, but I'm just going to see how it comes up with a little bit of brake cleaner and some metal polish. Yeah, she's coming along quite nicely. With a bit of a help. I love mothers, eh? Mothers. Oh, mothers. Lovely things. No, this mother. Mothers. Yeah, not what you're thinking. No. No, it isn't sponsored. I just bought this myself. I haven't been in contact with mothers. Okay? YouTube. Alright, we're carrying on. Sorry, it's a lot of fumes around here. Brake cleaner, all sorts of stuff. Paint remover, it says whatever you do, don't inhale this stuff, so yeah.
Once again, thanks for watching everyone. If this is the first time you've watched, please consider subscribing. I do product reviews, motorcycle reviews, off-road and on-road vlogs, as well as tours. Don't forget to follow me on social media, that's Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, and to like, and especially, I'm begging you here folks, subscribe. This is the BlueMarbleRider, out.